White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. The sun is out, and we are ready for a doubleheader between the Sox and the Tigers after a long night last night and a Sox win. Sox are going for two more this afternoon. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. It was 5-2 Sox late last night. Then Miguel Cabrera showed some power, which has been resurgent recently.
Melky's only hitting .251, but if he starts to come to life the way Avi's hitting the baseball also, and Abreu is heating it up, this team is going to score a lot of runs. And last night, well, Melky had a whale of a night. 3 hits, he drove in 4. And he kept on bashing the baseball. This was a little insurance late, making the 9th inning a little less dramatic, and the Sox come away with a win. Take a look at the last 6 games. Melky hitting .346, hit a couple of home runs, driven in 8, scored 7. The OPS commensurate with what he's been doing, and Melky's getting some help from his teammates, but he's starting to heat it up.
You mentioned Avi Garcia. Last night, he continued to haunt his former team.
Avi's hitting .341 this year, and last night, no exception. He kept on bashing the baseball. Early in the ball game, he came up with a double. This cleared the bases, driving in 3. He's got 37 runs driven in this year. Todd Frazier with a good slide. He's safe at the plate. Avi also picked up a couple of hits late, so 3 hits for Avi. And he's really starting to heat it up. So the offense is there. It's a question of the pitching, and we'll see today.
Speaking of the pitching, take us through our matchup this afternoon.
We've got Tyler Danish going to the mound for his first major league start. He's a sinker baller. When he's right, he's going to throw a lot of ground balls. On the other side of the equation, Michael Fullmer. He's a good one. He's 3-1 in his last 4 starts. His ERA at 186. Overall, Fullmer is 5-2. His ERA a little above 2.5. So the Tigers have a pretty good offense. The defense has been a bit shaky, and now they've got Cabrera back in their lineup. So we have a Cabrera, they have one. There's a little better hitter overall.
We have 3 Garcias.
We do.
Yeah, so that's trouble for them. Sox and Tigers, game number 1. Game 2 will follow half an hour later. Take a selfie by your TV if you want. Some offense coming your way. Tigers and Sox after this.
Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. The Toyota Time Sales Event ends May 31st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
That giant glowing orb in the sky is here, and that's good news for baseball. The Sox and Tigers scheduled for 2 games today. A 1:10 start time just around the corner for game number 1. Sunglasses necessary as Tyler Danish gets ready for his first career major league start, up from AAA Charlotte, where he had a very nice start to his season, an ERA of .315 in 8 starts with the AAA club. And there he goes, leading the Sox out onto the field for the first time in his life.
And normally what he's going through is this. He has a lot of butterflies. He's got a lot of nervousness. Even though he has thrown in a major league game, this is his first start. So for a starting pitcher, this is a very emotional day. Once, however, he starts throwing the first hitter, all that's going to be forgotten, and it's going to come down to Tyler Danish with his sinker. The sinker's good. He's going to throw ground balls. He's going to be effective. If it's not, well, the Tigers are going to have their way with him this afternoon.
Tigers are one of the teams that he saw very briefly in his time in Chicago last year. He'll face this lineup that's without Ian Kinsler, who's gone on the disabled list. So Romine at the top plays second base. Then Alex Avila, who homered last night. Miguel Cabrera sat yesterday, plays today. Then Martinez, Upton, Castellanos, Collins, Jacoby Jones, just up from AAA Toledo, and Jose Iglesias.
Let's take a look at the defense and how Ricky is going to line them up behind Tyler Danish. It's Melky, Leary, and Abisail in the outfield, with Frazier, Anderson, Sanchez, and Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is Tyler Danish. Danish throwing the ball very well. Forget the win-loss record. He's down there to pick up some innings. He knows he's not a strikeout guy, and he said, look, I'm not going to miss a lot of bats. I have to throw ground balls to be successful. That is my game plan. He's got a pretty nice slider to go with it, and a changeup that's a work in progress. The umpires for the game this afternoon, Nick Lentz behind the plate. Then we have John Liebka at first base with Tom Hallion, the crew chief, at second, and Phil Cuzzy is at third. So on a beautiful day for baseball, a radical departure from yesterday and last night. It's a good day to play too. We're ready to kick it off. They've thrown the ball around the infield, and so I'm ready to turn it over to the ever effervescent Jason Benetti.
Thank you, I think. Let's play 18 innings today, or more. You never know.
I'd just as soon go 8.5 each game if we had the choice.
Well, you got to be on the winning side.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Tyler Danish to Andrew Romine. First pitch this afternoon is strike one from the 22-year-old Tyler Danish to the switch-hitting Romine. And there is a hit for Romine on one strike. Melky gets over there quickly and stops Romine at first.
So here's one of the big problems with a sinker baller, and that is when you start the ball game, especially when you're filled with adrenaline, as Tyler is this afternoon, and this is his first major league start, the sinker isn't sinking as much, especially in the early innings. For sure, the first, possibly the second inning, till you get that adrenaline burn off. And so what normally is a ground ball early in the game will turn into line drives.
So with the runner on, here is our old friend Alex Avila, who wasn't exactly very amiable last night. He homered in the 5th inning, then was pulled for a pinch hitter in the 8th. Kinsler came up to walk because the Sox played lefty-lefty with Alex. And there is ball number 1 from Danish.
Well, unlike last night, where the outfield was playing Avila as a dead pull hitter, which is somewhat unusual for him, they're playing him the way you would normally expect because he's got big power to left center, and you see Leary over in left center.
Playing Alex to pull on the infield and then the opposite way in the outfield.
And what a good eye this guy has. You see, against left-handers, nothing doing. Against right-handers, where he plays mostly, he's pretty much torched him in the early going.
They've had the ability with a loaded catcher spot in McCann, who they like as a young player. He's now in the DL. to basically play Alex Avila in the best situations possible for him.
And McCann went on the DL after getting hit by a pitch. It didn't break any bones. They were very happy about that result, but it did slice the skin, so he had to have stitches, and that put him on the shelf for the 10 days.
Romine at first, 3-0. And Avila takes a strike from Tyler Danish, the Florida native who we saw for 3 outings last year, all out of the bullpen. His last one came against these Tigers.
Romine will run on occasion. This is a good opportunity to try to stay out of the double play. He's 2 out of 5 in stolen bases, but if he does run, it'll be the hit and run.
He doesn't go, and it's ball 4 to Avila, so 2 on. Nobody out first inning, and Miguel Cabrera looming.
It is the Miguel Cabrera. However, because of the various injuries, he's off to a slow start this year. He's also grounded into 4 double plays and 125 at bats. But when you look at the numbers that he's put up, just have to shake your head at 272 with just 18 driven in. It's most un-Cabrera-like.
He is 38th all-time in Major League history in home runs, 451. His next one will tie Carl Yastrzemski for 37th.
Remember seeing him in his first Major League season with the Florida Marlins. He had never played right field, and going into the playoffs, they had Mike Lowell at third. He couldn't play third, which was his natural position. They just stuck him in right field. He not only played a credible right field, but he swung the bat.
Breaking ball misses, 1-1 on Cabrera. Did you know at that time that he was going to turn into?
Well, I know he got anywhere from $1.6 million to $1.8 million as a 16-year-old out of Venezuela. And looking at those numbers, you'd have to assume that the guys that looked at him for the Marlins felt that he was as good a young hitter as they had seen in a while. That was the rep. He was thin. He was a big man. And the fact that he could run made it, well, advantageous to him to play in the outfield if he couldn't play at third base.
2-1 to Cabrera, who has at least a walk in 4 straight games, coming back from a brief stint away with an oblique injury. Three and one from Danish.
Well, this is where Tyler knows that if he throws a ground ball, he can go a long way to getting out of this inning without giving up a run. But with nobody out and a difficult pitch to make to one of baseball's best hitters, this is very much advantage Cabrera.
Bullpens are both going to be taxed today, you'd imagine, with the doubleheader, as Cabrera knocks it foul. 3-2.
That probably is the lone spot where you can get him. If he's in swing mode and you throw the ball up and in, you can jam it. But if you try to get him out consistently away, he's going to kill you.
Two on, nobody out, 3-2. On the ground, shortstop Anderson, the flip, and the turn is there. It's a double play for Danish.
Snappy play by Tim Anderson as he goes to his left. One thing I don't particularly like is Yolmer with the bare hand catch, because you got all the time in the world with Cabrera running. He just doesn't run real well anymore, and although it's a seemingly easy play, it's a lot more difficult to drop the baseball if you use your glove. However, that worked out very well, and you saw when the ball was in Abreu's glove, Cabrera was not in the picture yet.
You've got to imagine Tim Anderson enjoyed helping out Danish as well there. They are spring training roommates and very close friends. And Anderson certainly alleviates some of the pressure here in the first.
And Tyler said, look, I can give up a couple of hits and then throw 2 ground balls and get out of the inning. That's what he's in the process of doing.
And now you do have the opportunity, if you care to kind of tiptoe around Victor Martinez.
I would say you probably want to be careful with him. He's made a career out of driving home big runs.
2-0 on Martinez. Upton is next for a Tigers team that slugs the ball in the top half of Major League Baseball at .414 as a group.
Tyler in AAA had a pretty good run. He gave up 2 runs or less in 6 of his 8 starts, and this is obviously a pitch around. So when you've fallen behind 3-0, last thing you want to do is make a mistake to a hitter who most likely has the 3-0 green light.
And there is ball 4. 2 walks in the inning, but no runs across yet for the Tigers. First and third for Upton. Well, the walk certainly did not damage Danish much in his first 7 starts in Charlotte. He had 2 walks or fewer in the first 7 starts. His last start at Norfolk was 5 innings, 5 hits. He did walk 4 and strike out only 1.
And a very happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you that are viewing. This is a day where we honor all of those who have fought, and some made the ultimate sacrifice for this country to allow us to do exactly what we're doing today. Come to a baseball game and enjoy it. So we thank all of you for your service, and in many instances we thank the families for the sacrifices they had to endure. Have a very safe and a very happy and thoughtful Memorial Day weekend.
Ball 1 to Upton. Baseball is a reason to get away, and it's a way to get away from all of those things, but to step back and think about it as you look at the flags around the ballpark and some of the servicemen or women who are here. It's a weekend to be thoughtful.
Yeah, just about all of us either know somebody or have a family member, or we're in the service ourselves. My father was in the Army. This was always a special weekend for him, remembering his friends, the guys he served with, the guys he fought with. And so this is a day to honor those people that you might know, both men and women, who have spent a great deal of time serving our country.
That's a called strike to Upton, so it breaks 7 in a row out of the zone to Tigers batters.
That's what Tyler really has to do, is get a whole lot of that adrenaline burn off, and then that sinker will come back to being the pitch it was in AAA.
Now 3-2 on Upton, and the challenge for Danish in the first major league start. I think about what James Baldwin told us yesterday when he was up here in the booth during homecoming weekend. He said, look, it took me about 3 years to feel like I belonged.
And that was, that was for a guy at the time with just great skills and a really high ceiling. So it takes different people a different amount of time to feel like they belong here. There's some guys who come up right away and they just feel like, this is it. I'm here, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to beat anybody that I come up against. That's one attitude, and a few pitchers have that, not that many, and the other pitchers have to have the success before they have the confidence, as opposed to the confidence before they have the success.
3-2 is high, ball 4. Bases loaded for Castellanos.
And Don Cooper makes a slow walk to the mound. He's going to make this trip in a doubleheader probably quite a few times. But one of the things that's for sure is that Tyler Danish has got to pick up some innings, and with 24 pitches already, he's got to think about keeping it down and pitching to contact. The 3 walks in the first inning normally would do you in, but right now he can still get out and put a 0 on the board. So Nick Lentz breaks it up. Don Cooper's had his say. And this, unfortunately, is a pretty good matchup for Castellanos, because he's a dead low ball hitter, and you've got a sinker baller on the mound.
So what's your pleasure here if you're Tyler Danish?
Hit your spots. You can throw it down, but if you go inside, you want to go inside maybe on the second pitch so you can go inside off the plate and get him to swing at one.
ball one. So in the pitch cast box there, what quadrant do you want to pitch Castellanos in?
Well, he did the thing that I like first, which is try to throw a strike on the outside corner. But having missed, now you got to give him something fairly hittable, and you might want to go inside and down.
How about that?
Well, it was a delightful result, but it wasn't where he wanted to throw it. It was a slider that didn't slide, but he caught the inside corner. And career with the bases loaded, Castellanos has been unbelievably good. 368. He still is a fairly young hitter.
Up and in. 2-1. 27 pitches for Danish, who is the 26th man on the roster today. With a doubleheader, you're allowed to have one extra player you can carry in the doubleheader. Roman at third, Martinez at second, Upton at first. 3-1. Ricky Renteria can only encourage from his perch in the dugout. Castellanos on the ground. Sanchez at second. Cutting. Inning over. Nice tap dance by Danish. The AL Rookie of the Year from last year coming out. We told you had the big night last night. Abreu, who just caught an important first pitch before the game. We'll tell you about that as the game goes on. Frazier, Garcia, Anderson, Matt Davidson, DHs, Omar Narvaez, and Yolmer Sanchez, your starting nine.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they'll line up behind Fullmer. It's Upton, Jones, and Collins in the outfield with Castellanos, Iglesias, Romine, and Cabrera in the infield. Alex Avila gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is Michael Fullmer. Off to a great start. ERA a little above 2.5, a 5-2 record, and he's a very aggressive pitcher. Doesn't have a sinker, but throws ground balls.
He'll face Garcia first, and Leury now on what's tied for the fourth longest on base streak in Major League Baseball. He's been on in 17 straight, and that's thanks to the hit by pitch that maybe wasn't late last night.
There's two guys especially in the Sox lineup that have really made the most of opportunities they didn't necessarily think were going to come along this early. One is Leury and the other is Yolmer. They both have had their opportunities to play, and both of them have not only played well, they've actually starred.
And Sanchez with a great play in the top of the first.
Yeah, that was a really difficult play because he had to come straight over the top with the throw, knowing that he couldn't pull Jose off the bag, and he had to hurry because even though Castellanos doesn't have great speed, the speed's good enough. Fine play.
2-2 from Fullmer to Garcia. Michael Fullmer, who was the runaway winner in the AL Rookie of the Year voting last year. He beat Gary Sanchez of the Yankees, who finished in second. Fullmer got 26 of the 30 first place votes.
I think if Sanchez would have been up maybe another month and a half or so, he probably would have made it a whole lot closer. But Fullmer deserved it. 11-7, 3.06 ERA. Didn't exactly have a world beater of a baseball team to pitch for, but he threw very well in his 26 starts.
And Fullmer blows it by Garcia for out number 1. Tell you about our picks to click for today's first game. And let's check the standings. I've made a little bit of a run. Steve's got 6. I've got 4. Crew's got 5. The fans still have 2, but you got Avi, so that's a good sign. You can vote online, whitesox.com/pick-to-click.
Fullmer throws a 2-seam and a 4-seam fastball. The 2-seam fastball with good late movement. The 4-seam will be his faster of the 2 fastballs, and a slider to go with it.
Melky on the ground. Iglesias can only get the mid on it, but nothing more. It's an infield single for Melky.
Iglesias with good range to either side, that time going to his right. Would have been a tough play even if he came up with it cleanly. He doesn't, so it wasn't. And Melky breaks up the no-hitter early.
Sox only saw Michael Fullmer last year for a couple of starts. Once here on July the 22nd, he gave up 4 earned in 5 innings, and then a couple starts later at Comerica Park, he was better against the Sox. 6 2/3, just 1 earned. Now Abreu, who's been hitting the ball very hard everywhere.
He's facing a former #1 draft pick of the Mets. First round, June 2011 draft, 44th choice overall. Traded to the Tigers from the Mets with Luis Cessa for Yoenis Cespedes.
Iglesias waits for it. Romine turns it. And each team has a double play to its name so far today. No score after 1 in game 1. Chicago is presented by State Farm, and we are joined on the phone during the game by the skipper of the AAA Knights, Mark Grudzielanek. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Doing great. Doing great. What's the season been like so far with all the prospects that you've got in that clubhouse?
Well, it's busy. I mean, there's a lot of cameras and pictures and interviews. You know, there's some special kids here, and they're fun to watch and fun to coach.
Well, you played a wonderful middle infield in your time. I remember you, especially with Montreal. And being a middle infielder, you're seeing a middle infielder in Yoan Moncada. Just exactly how does he rate with you?
Well, when I first saw him in spring training, he was, he had some things and some flaws. He, young but physically, wow, what a specimen. Especially to have all the tools, 5'2" individual who can do pretty much everything, and he's definitely gifted. So it was fun to watch, and it's awesome. He's a great kid. To get to know him, the way he plays the game, he plays hard, he gets after it. So it's been a joy. Again, he has all the talent, and the sky's the limit for this young man.
Mark, what's he improved at most so far this year?
No question, it's been his defensive side. His footwork has gotten better. He's tightened everything up. He's shorter. He's quicker on his turns at second base. He's really focusing on each and every ball like it's the last out of the World Series. So this is something that he's intense out there defensively, and he's really trying to take some hits away from the kid. So I would say the defensive side.
You've got some pretty good pitching talent down there, and you saw something that you don't see very often. That was Lucas Giolito throwing a no-hitter. How about the progression of him from the start of the season to where he is now?
Well, it's definitely, it's a huge, as far as the things that happened in his last start, that's something really special. So he's coming along, and I think mostly it's his command of his fastball to work. He can work his off speed. If he can do that, then he can be really special. And that's pretty much with everybody. You get behind, you're going to get in trouble. So, but when he establishes his fastball, and then he can throw his breaking balls, and he has a really good curveball when he throws it, and everything was in sync the other night, and it just happened to be against his former team. So it was something really special for him.
Mark, one of the names that we saw in spring training, which got everybody's attention, and nothing that's happened during this season has dissuaded us from thinking that Nicky Delmonico has got a special bat. How has he looked to you?
Well, there's no question. He's a special person in my eyes. He's awesome in the clubhouse. He's a great kid. And then when you talk about what he does for us on the field is tremendous. He's out there each and every day. He works his butt off. He does the little things out there that help you win games. And then you add his bat, and he can swing it and play him, against the lefties also. Stays in there as good as he can, and does a really, really good job for us. And he's a big leaguer in my eyes. There's no question about that.
Mark, how about Zach Birdie? What's he improved on this year?
Zach's been, again, everybody knows he's a tremendous talent out there, and he's a back-end guy, and his command has gotten a lot better. He's really, the confidence is there. You ask, well, he throws 100. Well, it's different. When you do that, you lose a little command, and you go to your slider a little bit, but he's done some wonderful things. He's getting control of everything, and he threw last night, and that's what we're used to seeing here. He went up there 3 up, 3 down, and struck out a couple, did a wonderful job there, and he's just improving each time out.
You may not be able to see it right now, but your guy Tyler Danish has just struck out the first 2 batters at the top of the second inning. How's that make you feel?
Well, I was a little bit worried in that first inning there. When you get a little extra wind, Stevie, on those tinker ballers, and you give them a little more rest.
Little adrenaline with a strong arm, and the sinker doesn't sink. Mark, you love to hit against sinkers that didn't sink.
Oh, absolutely. So I was just crossing my fingers him to get out of the first. I think he's going to settle down here and give you some quality innings here.
Who's the biggest personality in your clubhouse right now down there?
Well, Delmonico, I would think, is he keeps things loose in there for the guys in the clubhouse. He's funny. He laughs a little bit. He gets everybody, in a great attitude. And it's supposed to be fun here, and it definitely is. We got a good group of guys. Even Moncada's loosening up a little bit. Saw him dancing at the end of the dugout the other day, and he's filling right in here and feeling comfortable.
You've had all the experiences that you could have coming up through the minor leagues, being a star in the major leagues. Now you're dealing with a lot of young kids. And we had Jacob May at the beginning of the year. He just couldn't get on track, but he's seemingly hitting everything in sight at AAA. So if he's going to make the transition to come back, what are the things he's got to work on, or is it just belief that he can do it?
Well, you know how that is. You get caught up in certain things, and you know, as a young player, you get up there and not having success right away. It might take a little time. I mean, to believe in yourself and get that confidence back. And this is something that's really good for him coming down here and having success like he has here in AAA. So, but there's no question. I mean, he's an electric young man. He plays defense, you know, very, very well. And you know, I think it's really, he has to get that pitch selection is really key for him. Stay off the high pitches. With what I've seen here in the short time I had him, he controls that a little bit, has a pretty good approach, and has a plan up there. I think he makes some solid contact. He's been bunting like crazy up here, or down here, I should say, and putting a lot of pressure on their defense. So, and that's the type of player he is.
Real quick before we let you go, what's your favorite moment so far that people may not know about in the Charlotte Knights season?
God, that's a tough question. I mean, I got to tell you, Charlotte's a beautiful city. The stadium's wonderful. The fans here are great. It's a pleasure to be here and coach these kids. So I'm just overwhelmed with the whole situation here. It's definitely enjoyable, and I love working with these guys.
Well, Mark, really appreciate the time. Thanks for jumping on with us, and we will talk to you hopefully at some point soon down the line.
Oh, thanks, Jason, Steve. Have a good one.
Good luck, Mark.
That's Mark Grudzielanek, the skipper of AAA Charlotte. That was nice to talk to him.
He was such a good player that it's nice where he gets to impart his knowledge to the youngsters down there. You know, he was a shortstop who had 200 hits, and you don't find that too often, but Mark Grudzielanek was a terrific player. He spent a long time learning his craft, and I think he's got a lot to impart to the youngsters coming up. And I think we're going to see some of the products of his labors when they get here.
2 on, 2 out. And we remind you that the 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. When buying a home, the best mortgage experience on the planet starts at rate.com. As I recall, you once had a broadcast partner who had some difficulty with Mark's name.
Yes. He would call Mark, and of course we're talking about Harry Carey. He would call Mark a number of different things, starting with Grudzielanek and a lot of other names that go with it, before he said, well, all of his teammates call him the G-Man. And as far as I know, none of his teammates called him the G-Man, but it was a lot easier for Harry, so that's what he called him from then on, the G-Man. G-Man could play.
Ball 1 to Alex Avila. Somebody's put that on YouTube. I've seen it in recent years of you and Harry having a conversation about Grudzielanek. It's high comedy.
Yeah, it was fun. And he was quite a player. A whole lot of pitches so far in the early going. Pitch number 54 on the way.
It's a strike to Alex Avila, who walked in the first. So 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, a single, and a double. In the air and foul, 1-2. You know, as you look at what Charlotte has done, you have to look at these individual numbers for players. Obviously, total record would be nice. You'd like to win all your games, but you're basically looking at individual output. Charlotte comes into today 23-23, and Jacob May, you mentioned, got a homer now in back-to-back games. Nice pitch by Danish. for strike 3. So Tyler Danish strikes out the side in the second inning in his first major league starts.
Show Beer Money, presented by Coors Light, where fans' sports knowledge is put to the test to take home cash. On an all-new episode of Beer Money, well, it airs tomorrow at 2 right here on CSN. So catch it, enjoy it, and maybe you'll get a chance to take home some bucks.
Maybe the folks watching on Ellsworth Cooperative Telephone in Ellsworth, Iowa will win some money. Hello to them.
Could possibly be.
You know what I found out the other day about Beer Money? The show.
Oh, I thought you were making a obscure reference to something that you had stashed away.
Frazier, a fly ball to right field. Collins on the run with a nice play.
Long way to go for that one, as the wind, which is blowing toward the right field corner, kept pushing that ball away, but Collins was able to make the play. Good concentration as he eases over toward the line. And Todd is the first out.
So what I found out about Beer Money, the show, is that the questions are written by our friend Chris Kamka.
Well, I would assume that he knows a whole lot of sports trivia.
I thought you were going to say he knows a whole lot about Beer Money.
And maybe some of that, too.
If you don't follow him on Twitter, see Kamka, you are missing out on some of the greatest, sometimes irrelevant but always fun nuggets in Chicago baseball and Chicago sports. He is a fountain of information. One down for Avi Garcia. And Fullmer starts him off with a strike. You know, we should do that more, hearing from some of the minor league folks. Grudzielanek was awesome. Some great stuff.
Yeah, it was certainly informative, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to evaluate some of the young players.
Boy, Avi Garcia continues his tear. And one out, one on.
Takes it right back up the middle, right by Fullmer, on into center field. That is one strong man, and because of the exit velocity that he usually exhibits, if he doesn't hit it right at the infielders, they usually don't get to it.
Here's Tim Anderson. And Avi is back into first. Sox and Tigers have not run much. 14 steals for each team here in 2017.
And one of the guys who can run, Ian Kinsler, disabled, so we won't see him until perhaps when we go to Detroit to kick off the next road trip.
center field, and Jacoby Jones. There's out number 2. Avi remains at first, and Sox fans join us Memorial Day, May 29th, as the White Sox take on the Boston Red Sox. 1:10 p.m. All kids 13 and under get White Sox patriotic sunglasses presented by Bright Start College Savings. Purchase your specially priced ticket today by visiting whitesox.com/brightstar529.
The Mets, as those of you who follow this game closely know, have developed a lot of good young pitchers, and Fullmer was one of those guys. And so when the Mets wanted Cespedes because they needed one power bat to set off their lineup, they came to Detroit and Dave Dombrowski. And Dombrowski said, well, be more than happy to part with him, but the cost is going to be Michael Fullmer. To which Sandy Alderson said, nope, not interested in trading Michael Fullmer. And Dave said, well, not interested in talking very much about Cespedes. And that went on right up until about 10 minutes before the trade deadline. And Alderson kept trying to get Dave Dombrowski to take somebody else, and Dombrowski kept saying, well, you got some other good pitchers, but we want Fullmer, and the deal's not made without him. And he stuck to his guns to the point where Sandy then eventually said, okay, you got a deal. And Cespedes went to the Mets, and Luis Cessa, Michael Fullmer came to Detroit, and they're ecstatic with that deal.
We should do a recurring thing where you paraphrase discussions between general managers.
Sure.
It was like a movie script.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can certainly make that up, although that's probably what happened in that one.
But it went right down to the wire, you're saying.
It did.
The crux of it,
And Alderson did not want to part with Fullmer because he realized how good this young man is going to be, and the Tigers saw that up close and personal last year.
Fullmer gets a swing and a miss for strike 3, and the inning's over. We have some special guests for you from Sox bullpens of days of yore. They're coming up after this. Howery and Folk.
We're doing well. Happy to be here.
Good, good. This is the most enjoyable part of homecoming weekend for us because we get to hear you guys tell stories about maybe even each other up here in the booth.
Is there a rating on this show?
Yeah, I think there are a couple words you can't say. What's it like being back?
It's exciting. You know, like we were talking off air, you know, coming back and seeing a lot of the same people that, you know, work behind the scenes that, you know, we've known for, you know, over 20 years now. It's refreshing.
Yeah, you come back and you see, like, you know, for both of us, this is where we got our start in the big leagues. So to come back and, you know, I think we spent 4 or 5 years here.
Yeah,
you maybe even a little more.
6 years. So.
And both of you guys at various times in your careers were closers, which, as we know, is a very important place to be. Talk a little bit about the mindset of a closer, Bobby, and then we'll get Keith's remarks.
You know, for me, it was coming in, situation of the game. I mean, obviously you got the 3-run leader less, but for me, honestly, it didn't really make a difference whether I was closing or setting up. I mean, I wanted to be better than the hitter.
Okay. In the air, and out number 1.
Yeah, so I mean, it was, you know, my mindset is I don't like to lose. So whether I'm coming in to shut a game down or, you know, come in and try and hold it for him to come in and shut down, it was all the same.
Here's a little look at you, Bob, back in the day. How about that?
This is good old fastballs right there.
That's it. Here it is. See if you can hit it.
Oh, that was a little generous plate there, I think, on that one.
Well, it had to be see if you can hit it because I couldn't throw anything else. It was here. This is what I got.
And Keith, talk a little bit about the changeup, which was a pitch that you perfected, which certainly was one of the strong points that you had during the course of your career. How difficult was it to learn it, and then how difficult was it to refine it?
Well, it was one of those things. I messed around with that pitch for 4 or 5 seasons before it kind of had its coming out party in '99. But each individual person, it just depends on, you know, how you grip the ball, how you throw the ball. But what really helped is when I got here, you know, I talked to Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, and all those guys, and I asked them, what don't you like? So I basically went to the source and then found out what they didn't like, and they told me that, you know, the depth perception is the hardest thing for a hitter to pick up. And so that's when I really mixed the changeup into my, you know, into my arsenal, and, you know, that helped me develop my style of pitching. You know, good fastballs located, and then you know, bringing it back.
For both of you guys, who was the one guy you really didn't like to face?
Mine was Ichiro.
Really?
Yeah, he could hit anything you threw up there. And so if you didn't have something really nasty, it was, you know, I was usually going to backup bases.
I didn't have to back up bases because mine was pull holes, and if I didn't hit it right, he'd jog around the bases.
Some Keith Folk highlights for you.
There you go. Sorry, Jose. Yeah, those were the good old days. You know, it's fun to look back here and see this, and, you know, like you mentioned earlier, you do get some generous plate calls on this. Like that one right there.
I was gonna say, if you stay around the plate, you're probably going to get a little help from the umpire.
You know, if you establish to the umpire that you're consistently around the plate, you're basically making his job easier. You know, there's times where they'll give you a little bit off the plate.
So tell us a little bit, Bobby, what you're doing now. Let our fans know exactly what happens to a guy who can no longer pitch in the big leagues, and you get a chance to do what?
Spend a lot of time with the kids. You know, you spend so much time away from your family and traveling while you're playing that I've been done for about 7 years now, and it's just been great to be with them, to get to do all their school activities. And now that my son's getting older, he's getting ready to go into high school. The last couple of years I've been full-time coaching his team, and then a little bit at the high school level. So that fills a lot of my time.
Keith?
Yeah, and I sat around the house for a number of years, kind of being a little depressed about not being in the game, but I work with the Red Sox part-time in the minors now.
Well, it's great to see both of you. Thanks for stopping by, all right?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Keith Folk, Bob Howery, 2 White Sox greats. No score. Bottom 3 next.
To Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
How about Tyler Danish? We've been talking to some folks the last tops of innings, but Tyler Danish has been doing very well for himself since a troublesome first.
The only surprising thing is the 5 strikeouts, because this guy doesn't strike out a whole lot of people, but he's finding that apparently they strike out a lot easier in the major leagues.
Sometimes you pitch up to your competition, right?
I would think that he just has particularly good stuff, especially now that the sinker is sinking again. First inning was a little problematic with 3 walks and a base hit, but he got out of it because he can throw ground balls.
Omar wraps it to first, and Cabrera for out number 1. Doubleheader today, so 30 minutes after this game, we will have game number 2. Scheduled starters are Buck Farmer and Derek Holland.
Turned into an absolutely gorgeous day. Temperatures are a lot more comfortable than they've been for the last week or so.
Feels a lot warmer when you're dry as well.
I think so, yeah. It does.
Now here is Sanchez, who came in last night for Tyler Saladino, who ended up with back spasms and left the game. And Tyler placed on the 10-day DL today, so Adam Engel has come up from AAA Charlotte.
And both teams disabled a starting second baseman. That was Saladino and Ian Kinsler.
Ball and a strike on Sanchez, and he slices that pitch into left center field. Base hit for Sanchez.
Yolmer's become a very difficult out. He doesn't overswing. He tries to take what the pitcher gives him, and this time he got what appeared to be a straight change. This one stayed in the middle of the plate, and Yolmer took it right over the head of Iglesias. So he's aboard.
For Avi Garcia, who struck out in the first on a 3-2 pitch from Michael Fullmer. Young Tiger right-hander. Fullmer was one of those guys who had very good minor league stuff as well. Didn't really hit many bumps in the road. He was the Eastern League Pitcher of the Year in 2015. Had a 2.14 ERA with the Erie Seawolves and the Binghamton team. Garcia belts this left center field. Jacoby Jones has a play though. There's out number 2. Oh boy, Steve. Oh boy. Zubaz Palooza is back. Tuesday, June 13th, as your White Sox take on the Baltimore Orioles at 7:10 p.m. Receive a voucher for a White Sox Zubaz t-shirt with the purchase of this specially priced ticket. T-shirts are limited to the first 500 fans, so get yours today. To purchase this specially priced ticket package, visit whitesox.com/Zubaz.
Handsome shirt.
You look good in Zubaz.
Oh yeah. Really good.
Zebra is your print. 2 out for Melky.
It's a good thing Fullmer was not looking at first base on the last play, because had he been looking, he would realize that Yolmer is off to the races. All you got to do is step back off the mound. You got yourself a very easy out. He didn't see him, and Yolmer able to scamper back to first base.
Romine to first for out number 3. You hear a lot about going on first move. You can go before first move. We find out. No score after 3. 3, and this is your Sox Math cachet today.
It's really wonderful, and I'm kind of surprised that Charlotte Knights cap has not departed the shelf, because it's a good-looking cap. You got Southpaw up there with his Jedi uniform and all kinds of neat things. Autographed Altoids case, golf balls, a cornucopia of wonderful gifts if you can only get the right answer to Sox Math.
And it's weekend Sox Math today, so it's a little bit calmer. Sharply hit on the ground by Castellanos, but handled well for out number 1. Here's your Sox Math question. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf. 2 steps today. Number of home runs the Sox hit last night, multiplied by the jersey number of the player who hit the final home run last night. That's your question. Answer on Twitter. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf and unseats SSSP Knowles. Unless it's him, and then he's a returning champion yet again. Tyler Collins takes ball number 1. Tyler Danish has walked 4, struck out 5, given up 2 hits, but has pitched very well the last 2 innings.
Well, the ideal number for him would be 6 innings if he can get there. So after a very strong third as far as limiting his pitches, he would like more of the same here.
Shift is on. 2-1 on Collins, who we saw extend the zone similarly last night in game 1.
Went down swinging on a fastball that was a good 3-4 inches off the outside corner.
Was 2 for 27 his last 10 games, including the strikeout in the second inning today.
Umps in the stands wanted that last pitch, but it was off the plate. Good call by Nick Lentz.
That's a strike. Danish straightened it out. 3-2.
This is borderline. Could have gone either way, and it went Tyler's way. Nice job of holding it there and not moving the glove too much by Omar Narvaez, trying to sell the strike to Nick Lentz, and he did it successfully.
Fouled away by Collins. Now time for AARP's Getting to Know. And we take a look at Tyler Danish, our player profile. 3 games with the Sox last year out of the bullpen. 3.52 ERA in his minor league career. A former second-round pick out of high school in Florida. And Tyler Danish has got to be happy that he got today's weather instead of last night's weather, because at Sox Fest we were at an event and he told some fans that it was the first time he had ever seen snow in his life.
Well, perhaps April and May not going to be good months for him as he misses away, and that's going to be the 5th walk of the ball game, and we're not through the 4th inning yet.
It's so foreign for Chicago people to hear about somebody who's not seen snow until they're age 22. But that's the case with Mr. Danish.
Collins probably is not going to try to steal a bag. He's 0 for 4 in that department. This entire Detroit team running at a 50% clip. 14 up, 14 down. So not the most aggressive team around, and they lost one of their base stealers, or potential base stealers, in Kinsler.
Jacoby Jones smacks it to left. And Collins has to hold up at second base. So first and second, 1 out for Jose Iglesias, who doubled his first time.
That one stayed up, and Jacoby Jones takes it over the head of Anderson into left field. So after a 1-2-3 third inning, this one going the way of the first and second, a walk and a base hit.
How about a ground ball?
That's what Tyler does best. You got a contact hitter up, although Iglesias in the ball game last night struck out twice. in his 0 for 5 night.
Danish in AAA had a ground ball to fly ball ratio about 1.4. As you're saying, the ground ball number is more likely than the fly balls, and actually through 4 starts he had a 2 ground ball to fly ball ratio. He had been throwing more fly balls his last couple of starts. Question is, where does he go now to put Iglesias away?
Well, what Iglesias hasn't handled is anything in under his hands. That's where Narvaez wanted it. That, at least for that pitch, was where Danish was going to go. And now they're going to meet once again.
While we have a moment, DeWalt is the official tools of the Chicago White Sox. DeWalt, guaranteed tough, offering total job site solutions. Sanchez was privy to the conversation between Danish and Narvaez.
If he's going to go back inside under his hands, you're probably going to get that ground ball to the left side.
He did, and he nearly aced him.
Good pitch. Just missed inside.
Collins at second, Jones at first. A bouncing ball foul. Iglesias fights it off well.
Another good pitch with late movement inside, and Iglesias could do very little with it. Omar wants it inside, and Tyler gets it right there. Very much tying up Iglesias. He was lucky to get a piece of it.
He gets a swing and a miss for strike 3, and Danish has struck out 6.
Good hard slider, low and away. Iglesias hasn't seen Danish, so he probably hasn't seen how quick and how tight the spin is on that slider, but he completely fooled him on the last pitch.
Two on, two out for Romine, who's been on twice. A single to left and a 6-pitch walk on a 3-2 pitch in the second inning. Strike 1. Danish called up just for the doubleheader. He's the 26th man with the added roster number. That's going to be a long run. Garcia's there, and the Tigers strand a pair more.
You just heard Jason talking about Tyler Danish's relief appearances last year, but this is his first big league start. He was talking about how this year it feels a little bit different. He said he's much more calm. He said last year he kind of felt like a deer in headlights with the atmosphere. He said this time he feels a lot more comfortable. He also said yesterday, don't get me wrong, when I get the ball, I'm still going to be nervous, but I have a better grasp this time around. Jason, Steve, let's go back up to you.
I think his first inning shows exactly what Sierra just reported. There were some nerves. There were some walk problems. He pitched over it, and that was something that he didn't get a chance to do last year.
Well, he's been in some trouble, but he's been able to keep his concentration, pitch his way out of it each and every time. And the only thing they pay off on is zeros, and he's got 4 of them in the first 4 innings.
Two strikes out of Abreu, now 1-2, and Jose before the game caught the ceremonial first pitch here today at Guaranteed Rate Field, and there was a reason. His countryman just signed with the White Sox. Luis Robert, the outfielder who you may have heard something about, one of the highest rated international prospects we've seen come through baseball for a while, has officially signed with the White Sox. And we will hear from Dan Hayes about that in the 5th inning, our CSN insider. But here is the first pitch from Luis, and he put a little something on it. By the way, that's a physical specimen right there.
Yeah, you're talking about a 19-year-old who's 6'3", right about 205 pounds. He can fly. In fact, the scouting report says that all the scouts rate his speed a touch ahead of Moncada. And he's a guy who can steal 60 or 65 bases. So Robert looks like he's got a chance to be an excellent player.
The ground ball from Frazier for out number 2. Here's your Sox math answer for game number 1. We'll play again in game 2. Sox hit 2 homers last night. Davidson and then Miguel Cabrera, who wears number 53. The answer is 106. A lot of answers today, but White Sox 06-1705 was first.
Congratulations.
By the way, I think Dan Hayes came directly from court. He's wearing a suit. It's the first time for everything.
There was a big press conference today. I can understand where he would want to wear a suit. Lots of people in attendance, and it was pretty exciting to see, by acclamation, everybody's #1 international player sign with the White Sox. It would be the equivalent, because the Sox have the 11th pick in the draft that's coming up here in the 2nd week of June. But this is the equivalent of getting another first-round pick, a guy that would be taken 1, 2, or 3 in the draft. If he were draft eligible, that's how high Robert would have gone.
We will hear in game 2. We're scheduled to hear from Marco Patti, who's the Sox director of international scouting, and we'll hear from Marco about Luis and his skill set in game 2 of this doubleheader. But from all accounts, a very highly talented young man, and he certainly passes the eye test, that's for sure. Iglesias to first for out number 3. Dan Hayes, our CSN insider, will build on that with Luis Robert after this. No score. He's yours with your arm around him. We talked about Luis Robert and his signing today with the White Sox. What have you heard, Dan, about his skill set and what people around baseball are saying?
Well, he can run. He's powerful. He's 6'3", 175. There's an expectation that he can play center field every day. If you can have that and power, it's a rare combo. We've seen it before. A lot of good comps were thrown out there. The White Sox don't want to attach those comps, but you hear Avi Jones, you hear some. The body sort of reminds me of Mike Cameron, but he's 19. We'll see. But I mean, there's a lot of good things there. Talking to Jim Callis from MLB the other day, he said he's going to be the number 27 prospect in baseball when he is official. He's official as of today. I'm sure that list will be updated sometime soon. But I mean,
you're saying about in baseball, top
27 baseball, and as of right now, the number 4 in the system. We'll see. That'll be reshuffled in July, but somewhere between the 3rd and 4th best prospect within the White Sox system. So a lot of people like him. The hit tool will be a key, but that's the same with anybody. He's a 19-year-old kid, but there's a lot to like there.
In the air from Alex Avila, Melky is on the run, and Melky gently up against the wall, or so.
He might have gotten hurt, but he made a whale of a play because he had to concentrate knowing the wall was coming up a little more quickly than he thought at first. And the ball stayed in the glove. Watch it again. It almost escapes, but Melky goes over into foul territory, hits the heel of the glove, and somehow he's able to put it away. Little contact, and hopefully it didn't get the oblique area. You know how nasty those can be.
We've heard a lot about those. Melky has had a couple run-ins with the left field sidewall recently.
Yeah, but that's a good play by Melky.
So one down for Miguel Cabrera. You've done a little reporting on what Luis might be doing for his family with his newfound wealth.
Yeah, he mentioned today he's going to buy a house for his family, for his uncle, and for himself. So taking care of everybody. It sounded like he's got his head on straight about what he's going to do. 19 years old. It's a lot of money, $26 million signing bonus, and he has a plan already.
Well, that's really good, and I don't know if you met me, but Stephen Robert is my name, and if you could tell him, that 4th house for some member of the family, the extended family, wouldn't be bad.
I haven't had a chance to individually talk with him yet, but I will see if I'll stress that the first time. Sales pitch for a house, I think that'd go over really well.
And by the way, the one question everybody was asking was, where is he going to play? And that was answered by Rick Renteria. What did he say?
He's going to start the Dominican Summer League, and he has not played since last July. He does have 4 years in the Cuban National Series, which is their top league. He is an experienced player, but being that it's been since July, they're going to start him in Dominican. We'll see. He might spend most of the summer there. It's potentially, he is an advanced player in their eyes, but might spend most of the time there. We could see a late promotion possibly, but I would imagine he would have to determine that by playing well.
And from what Rick Hahn said, and correct me if I'm wrong, the feeling I got was that the reason he needs to start in the Dominican is because he's been prepping for these showcases and workouts. He's not been playing baseball. He's been doing showcase stuff.
Right, and that's much different than standing out there for 9 innings. We saw it last year with Justin Monroe coming back from his injury. You just got to build up your strength. Obviously, he's a 19-year-old kid. That's going to be a little bit easier, but at the same time, getting your feet under, making sure you're in good shape so you don't get injured out there. Obviously, it's a prized possession that they want to protect as much as possible and develop at the same time.
Tell us a little bit, Dan, about what you find out on the process itself, because this is the last time where you had an unlimited amount of money to buy an international player, and even though it was a $26 million bonus, it's also going to be $26 million in a tax that the Sox are going to have to pay. So the deal's $52 million, of which Robert gets a 26. But tell us about the process that Marco Patti played a part in, and so did everybody else in the Sox front office, as well as the people they've had in the Dominican and a number of other places.
Yeah, Marco Patti made the determination last November, December that this was the guy that they should go in for. Rick Hahn and he both talked about that today. And Marco knows that by doing this, he can't sign a player for over $300,000 for the next 2 seasons. So this is a critical part, but they don't think that there's any player that will come out internationally in the next 2 years that could impact the organization as much as Luis Robert could in the future. So they kind of determined, we're going after this guy. This is a full court press. And that's one thing that Luis Robert cited today was how much desire the White Sox showed. They showed the most interest in this, included a video, a recruitment video that was narrated by Rick Renneria. Renneria basically said, hey, we need you in Chicago. If we're going to win titles here, we want you here. Had testimonials from Jose Abreu, from Yohan Moncada, and Michael and Noah. They share the same trainer. So they really went after him hard and made sure that he knew that this was the place. They wanted him to be here. He was their number one choice, and I think that went well. He definitely cited it and said it was an important part for him.
And we also learned how to say his name today.
Yes, well, it depends on where you are. If you are...
I'm here.
Yes, here it's Robert. If you're in Cuba, he said he goes by Robert. So
if you're in Paris, it's Robert. And depending on where else you might be, you know, it's different pronunciations. I can understand that. Certainly.
But he said Robert.
Right.
You can call me Robert. We'll go with Al other than that.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Dan, always a pleasure to see you.
All right, guys. Thanks for
We're
having
going
me.
to get you a T-shirt that says, "Our Dan Hayes, good stuff," because you had good stuff today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we'll have to get him a dress shirt. He's all dressed up today with nowhere to go.
You know, some days you just have to dress up. I didn't wear the suit. I figured you'd wear me out for that, so.
Well, I already did before you came in. I said you came directly from court. Pleasure to see you, Dan. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.
Dan Hayes, you can follow him all season long, our White Sox insider on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
Ricky comes out at the 100 pitch mark. Chris Beck, who we saw last night. In fact, we saw him for a strong inning. He pitched the sixth in relief of Mike Pelfrey. It was a perfect sixth, and he struck out 2. So just a word of confidence. Telling him how he wants to pitch Upton, and most likely it went like this. Look, this is going to be your last inning, so give me whatever you have. He knows he's at 100 pitches. He just said, reach back, give me whatever you have, and get yourself out of here without giving up any runs.
Nice breaking ball. 0-1.
As you can see, the first 2 problematic, but nobody scored, and things have gotten a whole lot better since then. Another breaking ball to Upton.
Missed this time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Justin Upton, 4 for his last 10 after an 0 for 16. High walk total for Danish, but 3 of those came in the first inning in his first career start. It's not necessarily blameworthy behavior.
No, and regardless of how this works out, whether this is going to be the last hitter he faces, the last inning, or whether he gives up runs or no runs, this is a successful outing for Tyler Danish, who showed everybody in that dugout in the front office that he can get it done.
Second base, Sanchez flags it down for Danish. If this is farewell for Tyler in this ball game, it's a beaut. Layla, thank you very much. That's the AAA Blue Jays, the Buffalo Bisons now.
And let's see if the Sox can put up at least one run and give Tyler Danish a chance to win a ball game. Because he didn't give up anything through 5, although he was on the ropes. As 6 walks would indicate, he made big pitches when he had to make them. This is a very good outing, and maybe they'll extend him a little bit longer, but right now nobody throwing in the pen.
Fast strike from Fullmer, 2-1, and Tyler Danish wins extra points in the clubhouse, you would imagine, with the 5-inning start and no runs, considering the doubleheader, the situation. You want to save the bullpen.
Well, he came very close in that first inning to seeing the ball game just dissolve. But despite a hit and 3 walks, he got out of that first inning, stranding 3. The Tigers have stranded 8 through 5 innings.
Michael Fullmer is likely going to be fairly long for this game. Look at that pitch count.
That's what he does. He's a strike thrower. And he doesn't waste a lot of pitches. He goes at you with the intent of getting you out with each and every pitch, something that a lot of pitchers don't do. They use 1 pitch to set up another, maybe 2 pitches to set up another. In the case of Fullmer, he's going right at each and every one of the Sox hitters and not using any waste pitches.
Gets a ground ball this time from Anderson. Iglesias has to hurry. He's late.
Good hustle, good pick by Cabrera at first base. He can't get it there in time, and Iglesias, knowing that Anderson can run, tries to put a little something extra on it. He cannot get it there in time. Hustle by Tim Anderson gets him a base hit and a promising way to start the 5th.
Let him run here.
I don't think I'd let him run early in the count. Only because it's pretty easy for Brad Ausmus, who is a former Major League catcher and a long-time Major League catcher and a good one. Too easy for him to call pitch outs. But if you get to the point where Fullmer gets ahead of Davidson, where he might be using a breaking ball wipeout pitch, that's a good time to run.
Davidson to right field. Collins on the go. It drops. Anderson looks over his shoulder, heads for third. He's there.
It's going to take Tim a while to get the nuances of base running down, and one thing you don't want to do as you round second with the play behind you is take a look at the play, because it slows you down. When you get a couple of steps from second, that's when you pick up Nick Camper at third. Now he's looking at it here, but you see him, he still looks back. There's no reason to do that. Once you get close to second, you pick up Nick Camper, the third base coach, and that way you don't have to slow yourself down by looking behind you. But he wound up at third base, so runners at the corners, nobody out, and a very promising start. The Sox try to break through.
First time in the game the Sox have had 2 runners on in the same inning. Fullmer had retired 5 straight before Anderson singled, and now Omar takes ball 1. It's a rare sight. Omar Narvaez has gone 6 games now since his last walk.
Well, he is a contact hitter, and a fly ball brings home the first run of the ball game. In fact, the Tigers would trade the double play for the run.
Ball and a strike. Donkey's a little hungry. It's not really nutritious, gotta say.
Got to get his fiber.
Whoa. Narvaez the bunt. And okay.
That was an interesting play.
We'll take it.
Well, Cabrera comes on. Doesn't bother to even think about the out at first. It's a safety squeeze. Anderson wasn't running. It wasn't a particularly good bunt. So it goes as a base hit on a brain cramp by the usually dependable first baseman Miguel Cabrera. Miguel's looking at third and then doesn't turn around to go to first. Kind of an interesting play. On the safety squeeze, the runner is not going. If you lay down a good bunt, he can always take off. It was not a particularly good bunt, and Cabrera was charging, so he stayed right there.
There's the off chance he caught Melky eating a wrapper out of his peripheral vision and was so shocked by it, he couldn't make the throw to first. Bases loaded, nobody out for Sanchez. From Fullmer. What an inning for the Sox. Anderson an infield single, Davidson a bloop to right, and Narvaez the bunt. On the ground, Iglesias and Roman, and double play. Sox do get a run. Anderson scores. Davidson to third, and it's 1-0.
Good shift by Cabrera at first base. That's what a first baseman wants to do. He wants to get parallel at the bag and not anticipate where the throw is going. Then you can come off to the side of the throw. In this case, it's the outfield side as Cabrera shifted. Tagged the bag with his left foot, but not before a run scored.
Garcia takes ball number 1. That is the definition of you win some, you lose some. Sox take the run, give away 2 outs for it. And a foul ball from Garcia, who's trying to protect a 17-game on base streak with Beck warming up. And you would imagine Ricky Renteria is going to say, look, you put us in position to win, to Danish, get him out and leave it to the bullpen.
Chris Beck is coming in this game because he's warmed up already. He wouldn't be warming up now. So I think he's ecstatic with the performance by Danish.
There's the third out. Upton squeezes it, but the Sox do get a run. 3 hits and a 1-0 lead.
They take on the Buffalo Bisons. Watch the White Sox Stars of the Future tomorrow at 6 on CSN Plus.
Heard from skipper Mark Grudzielanek earlier. If you care to watch that back, he was on with us in the top of the second inning. By the way, it's a beautiful day here at the ballpark, and the best way to celebrate that is with a lemonade.
Let me guess.
Here.
Lemonade. A freshly squeezed lemonade.
This is the real deal.
It's also got a very spiffy, whatever this is called, with a cap and all that kind of stuff, and a glass and a straw and all that. And lots of lemons. A lot of lemons.
A lot of lemons. Like a bad car lot in here. Chris Beck is on for the Sox. That's the best part of a baseball game, is the fresh squeezed lemonade on a hot day, I think.
It's right up there as Chris Beck comes in the ball game, on for the 12th time. The ERA a little below 3.5. No record, but he does have 12 strikeouts in 15 2/3.
Tyler Danish, 5 innings, just 3 hits allowed, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts, and Beck is ahead of Castellanos. Sox bullpen once again was outstanding last night, eating up 4 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk. Castellanos lays off, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And there's a look at the first major league start of Tyler Danish. More walks than he would like, but 104 successful pitches, 5 innings, shutout innings with just 3 hits. A fine performance, and he stands to be, at this point, the pitcher of record.
Well, certainly he'll want the walks back. Certainly he'll be frustrated about one thing or the other thing. But when you sit in the dugout, you haven't given up any runs. There's got to be a smile cracking across your face.
Absolutely, because they pay off on results. And the results were great.
Two and two. Castellanos tomahawks it to Anderson. Out number 1. 3 ground balls for Castellanos. Visit participating Chicagoland area Great Clips salons by June 9th to enter the Great Clips Summer Sweepstakes. The grand prize winner will throw out the first pitch at Mullet Night on Friday, June 30th. That's Mullet Night in certain countries. Plus White Sox tickets and a pregame patio party. Great Clips. It's going to be great. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Mullet Night, one of my favorite nights. Only rivaled by Elvis Night.
What if?
And Dog Day. I like the 2 dog days.
What if, just brainstorming here, okay?
Yes.
What if we did Elvis Mullet Night?
Well, it could possibly be, but you don't want to mix up 2 premier promotions with the same night and consolidate it down to one. You want to spread things out so the fans have something to look forward to, like that ice cream.
I was saying in addition, we could do Elvis Night, then Mullet Night, and then Elvis Mullet Night late in the year.
Rather add another Dog Day or night.
What about Dog Mullet Night?
Really good for everybody but the dogs.
Tyler Collins has struck out and walked. A strikeout in the second, the walk in the fourth. This is game 1 of 2, doubleheader game 2, 30 minutes after this one. Sox come in at 5 games back in the American League Central, just a half game back of the Tigers. And Minnesota still leading the division, tied at 2 in the bottom of the 4th against upstart Tampa Bay, which is 1 game over 500.
Tampa Bay is starting to play some pretty decent baseball. They're going to have to because of that division. Things are getting a whole lot better in the American League East these days.
That's called strike 3. Breaking ball from Beck and 2 down. We're talking about the Rays, and this was not the best play ever from Steven Souza Jr., who's had a very nice Rays career, but he's not real close to that baseball.
Well, it was a nice dive. You have to give him some style points. Normally, you're not diving as the ball is a good 30 feet away from you, but look, he thought he could get there. He missed it by just that much. Nice effort.
2 down. And there's ball 1 to Jacoby Jones. I had Steven Souza Jr. in AAA a couple of years ago, and he's that kid. He wants to show the effort every single time, and he's really into that. And yikes.
There are a lot of eye exercises for depth perception that you might want to introduce to him, so he has a better idea on the dive.
High into the blue sky. What should be a 1-2-3 inning. Look out for that bag, Tim. 1-2-3. Brought to you by Ozinga, and it's Jacob May, who in 21 games with Charlotte has a hit in 18 of them and has really hit the ball very well. We have a special guest in the booth.
We do. Now. We've got Southpaw, and you know, he's the first guy that I've seen at the ballpark that's wearing a hat that could fit your head.
Oh, thanks. Well, let's try it on, shall we?
Now, there you go.
I think this is a really good look.
That's what we're talking about. That is a good look. I think that, well, it would certainly keep the sun out of, well, it would keep the sun off your body and your car.
Good to see you, Southpaw. I have to say, I don't think this fits me, but thank you. A little bit, yeah. Like as close as Souza was on that dive. How's it going, Pa? You got stuff for us?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I'm glad you could speak Southpaw, by the way.
I can.
Yeah. Great interpreter.
Okay, what do you have in the bag? Let's see.
Ooh,
oh boy,
very nice.
This is a nice little paw doll.
Yes.
You blew up a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bigger than I remember you. Oh, you've been eating a lot. I see.
Very nice.
Yeah. Oh, a Rubik's Cube. We had given ours away. Oh boy, another Rubik's Cube.
Wow. You got a cheeseburger in there?
The doll ate it, actually. The ground ball for out number 1. Oh, a little keychain. Another keychain.
This is terrific. This is a bonanza.
You are awesome. Anything else? Oh boy. And Southpaw glasses as well. These will go well with the patriotic glasses that are coming to the ballpark very soon. Oh, another Jedi Southpaw.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, look at that. Great reveal, by the way. Southpaw, you have an eye for drama.
This is really nice. And I believe we have the lightsaber also.
We do.
Very nice.
Very nice. Thank you, Pa.
We certainly
get the bag too.
Way to go.
How about that?
Thank you.
Southpaw. Always great talking to you. Your English is fantastic.
Been working on that. You can tell.
What a lovely man. Or thing.
Terrific.
Or woman. Man? Now I'm playing charades with Southpaw.
Very furry.
Thank you, Paw. Great to see you. 1-0 Sox with the lead. A wonderful. Guy. And there's a pop-up. And there's out number 2. Time for America's fastest growing sensation. Other than Kudzu. Sticks and Stone. Which former Tiger had the most at-bats against Steve Stone?
I'll go with Al Cowan. Now, one of the reasons I'll go with him is that...
Where are you going with it, by the way?
Well, I'll say that I had the most at-bats because I remember, unlike John Walkenfuss and whoever else you have listed up there, I remember that he hit me in the thigh with a line drive.
Did he really?
I was working on a splitter. And unfortunately, when you throw a splitter over the middle of the plate, more times than not, if you get a strong hitter, he hits it right back at you. And this thing, it really hurt. Yeah, I remember crawling to the ball and able to throw him out. But I was most unhappy with that. Still a little bitter. The bruise just went away. I think he hit me 25 years ago. But, so I'll say Al Cowan's had the most at-bats. He certainly had the most painful at-bats against me.
Those contusions.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
And misses to Frazier, who walked 3 times last night. His 3rd career 3-walk game. We need to find footage of you crawling to the baseball after getting whacked.
Well, you have to. You don't want to add insult to injury.
Broken bat, Iglesias for out number 3. That's what we call a tease in the industry. The answer after this. 1-0 Sox.
Can bring the fun home.
Well-coordinated dances. Very nice.
There's the paw.
Paws everywhere.
Very green today. Anthony Swarzak comes in the ball game on for the 19th time. He's 2-0. The ERA 121. You look at the rest of the numbers; they are very impressive. We saw him for an inning last night. It was the 7th inning, and he had a 1-2-3 7th. So he's got to protect a 1-run lead.
His whip, walks and hits per inning pitched. is second best in the American League at .54. That's basically a base runner every 2 innings.
And a pretty amazing start as he threw a soft breaking ball and he had Iglesias well out in front of it. We'll see if this holds up. First batter he's faced this year, 1 for 15 or 0.067.
That's important for a couple of different reasons.
Relievers, it's especially important. Starters, you'd love to get the first guy out, but you've got some room to work with. But you come in as a reliever, especially in a key situation, you got to get that first man.
Certainly perception's not everything, but the ability to come in and give your manager the confidence that there won't be a big inning essentially immediately will get you a lot more calls. Three balls and a strike on Iglesias. He's only walked 4 times this year, so you'd imagine he'd be in swing mode on 3-1.
And he's one of their base stealers. This is not the guy you want to walk to lead off the inning.
That is ball 4. Iglesias is on against Swarzak. What was your answer to Sticks and Stone? We asked you who had the most trips to the plate against you. The answer is Al Cowens. You win again.
By a wide margin. Uncle Al. I used to call him Uncle Al.
You did? That
until he hit me.
Maybe why he smoked you.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Great day for sailing. Are you a sailor? Do you sail?
We had, well, you know, I'm kind of a man of the sea. So, yeah, I mean, lots of sailing. Huge, just huge sailboats on Lake Erie.
If the craft is seaworthy.
Cuyahoga River, you might remember that, the one that caught on fire a couple of times. It was tough to sail on that, but occasionally we tried till the boat burned up. No, not much sailing in my past.
Huh. I fancied you a yachtsman.
Ooh, no. I'm a landsman.
Romine takes ball number 1. What do you do here if you're Brad Ausmus? Hit and run, let him steal. What's your pleasure down 1-0?
First thing, I wait and see if Anthony can get the ball over the plate. You try to allow pitchers to get themselves in trouble if you can. This is a pretty decent hit and run situation, but not necessarily on this pitch.
Ball and a strike. Iglesias wasn't going.
3 for 3 in stolen bases. We talked about the fact that their team is not overly aggressive, just running at a 50% clip, which if you're going to do that, it's not a particularly good thing for the manager to call that too often.
Iglesias had 11 steals his All-Star year 2 seasons ago.
Brad Ausmus, the skipper of the Tigers.
Former Major League catcher. Iglesias holds, and another foul ball from Romine.
I've talked to a lot of folks that they always ask about which position makes the best managers, and more times than not, catchers historically have been the best managers because what they do for a living entails everything that goes on in a baseball game. You got to know your pitchers, you got to know their hitters.
Check swing, no go, 2-2.
So the catchers are really in the middle of everything because you have to know every aspect of the game. You have to know where the shifts are going to be, and if they're not shifting in the same spot, you have to know to move them over. And you have to know the stuff of each and every one of your pitchers, as well as all of the tendencies of the hitters that you're going to face on a given day. So it's a very labor-intensive position, not only physically but intellectually, and that's why catchers make the best managers.
Here's something that typifies why that is. Brad Ausmus, every once in a while, maybe just a couple of times a year, goes out to the bullpen and catches bullpens from his starting pitchers. He says he feels like he can figure out, especially with a specific pitch, what's working, what's not, and help teach the guys. He's the only guy that could do that in terms of being a catcher for his pitchers. Another foul ball from Romine, who's making Swarzak use everything he's got.
Brad from Dartmouth, not only a smart guy, but he's always a smart catcher.
Two and two. Iglesias at first. He does not go, and Romine chops it into left field.
Romine's been on 3 times today. With Frazier well off the line, nobody home down the line, and an ominous way to start this 7th inning. There are some guys who would say this is an ideal time to bunt. However, Alex Avila doesn't have a bunt this year. Probably hasn't been asked to bunt all that often. So even though he's an inviting double play target, you try not to ask a man to do something that he is not capable of doing. Plus, if you do bunt, and if it is successful, then you take the bat out of Miguel Cabrera's hands, which is, despite the fact he's 0 for 3, something you don't want to make a habit of.
You give the opportunity for a Victor Martinez double play ball, and that all equates to Avila swinging away, 0-1. There's Miguel Cabrera, who's 0 for 3 in the game. Avila 0 for 2. Martinez 0 for 1. Upton 0 for 2. Castellanos 0 for 3. 2 through 6, no hits today.
Alex has not done a whole lot with Anthony over the course of his career, but he does have 3 hits. They're all extra base hits.
One ball, one strike. Iglesias at second, Romine at first. And he went around 1 and 2.
Let's take a look at StatCast, powered by AWS. And in the 5th inning, fly ball to left field, crossing over into foul territory. The distance covered by Melky, almost 84 feet.
It's almost a trip to first.
Very close. Good concentration. That's a tough play to make.
Swarzak got him. Oh, he absolutely aced him.
Well, Alex, who believes, and justifiably so, that he has one of the better eyes around, has been caught twice looking. That one drifts over the plate. You can see by the height that it was certainly high enough, and it did have the plate.
So 1 down for Miguel Cabrera. High leverage spot for Swarzak. Big spot in the game. Cabrera has bounced into a double play already.
That's 5 for the year, putting him 1 behind the team leader. That's Victor Martinez. So Omar goes out there. He wants a word. Yolmer wants to find out what they're talking about. And now he knows.
Major league leader in double play ground balls is Elvis Andrus with 11. Yasiel Puig also has 11. Aaron Judge with 10. Top 3 in baseball.
Well, you can understand the 2 guys you were talking about as second and third because they're sluggers who have good but not great speed. Andrus is not a slugger, middle infielder by trade, but that infield in Texas is rock hard. The ball gets to the fielders pretty quickly.
2 strikes on Cabrera. In the dirt. With Swarzak's stuff, which of Cabrera and Martinez is the better matchup?
I think they're both very difficult to get out. It depends. I mean, in this situation, if you can get the ball in on the hands of Miguel, you're going to get that ground ball to the left side. That's pretty much what you're looking for. Victor doesn't have good wheels these days. So I'm not sure there's a better matchup between one of these guys or the other. Depends on the situation and how the base paths are going to look when this at bat is over.
Swarzak trying to cinch it up for Tyler Danish, who went 5 innings of shutout baseball. Trying to get the Sox the win in game 1 of this doubleheader. Game 2 will follow half an hour after this one ends. 1 ball, 2 strikes is high. 2-2. Tigers had the bases loaded in the first inning. Could not score. He went around. Strike 3.
Some high heat, and the big man could not check it up. So there's 2 out. He throws that fastball by him. Now he's got to deal with Victor. And Nick Lentz wants to break it up as we're having lots of meetings at the mound, and Don Cooper now going out to allow the pen to throw a few more pitches and get ready to go.
Well, first and second, 2 down. Martinez and then Upton to follow. Both right-handers getting loose for the Sox in the bullpen. So Ynoa and Canely. It'll be Martinez from the left-hand side one way or the other. Nick Lentz lingering at the meeting.
Canely faced Upton last night and struck him out. If there is a change, it'll most likely be if Upton comes to bat. But you can make that a moot point by retiring Victor. That young lady certainly enjoying just a gorgeous day at the ballpark. 71 degrees and bright sunshine. No rain in evidence anywhere in this area.
Perfect day to play 2. Martinez, 2 walks. He takes ball 1. Only run crossed the plate in the bottom of the 5th. It was on a double play ground ball off the bat of Yolmer Sanchez. And it gave the Sox the lead they currently have. Two balls, no strikes. Martinez just 4 for his last 26 as he stands in. He missed the weekend series with Texas last week, awaiting the birth of his third child. He takes ball number 3 from Swarzak.
So far, it really hasn't been all that close. This looks like a pitch around, which would be the third time that Victor would have been walked. He's had a day of no contact so far. Strikeout, sandwiched in between the 2 walks.
.30 is there for a strike. 3-1. Well, if you have the 3-0 green light there, that is a pitch you probably swing at, wouldn't you say?
Fastball down the middle. Yeah, I would think so.
Iglesias at second, Romine at first. 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4, bases loaded. 8th walk from a Sox pitcher today. Well, looks like it will be Swarzak against Upton. Was that a pick your poison sort of scenario?
That looked to me like a pitch around. I mean, the only pitch that was close was a 3-0 pitch. Other than that, he was nipping at the corners and threw 4 bad ones. As you see, not a great deal of speed on the bases. Iglesias has good speed at third.
Upton takes a ball. Tigers so far have stranded 8 in this game. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. '29-year-old Justin Upton, who came in swinging a pretty hot bat the last couple of games. One and 2.
Upton came in, signed a huge free agent contract. Had a somewhat disappointing year last year where he struck out a big percentage of the time. He is very strong, however. 179 strikeouts last year in 153 games.
You would think he'd be a candidate to extend the zone here.
I would think a good slider low and away would get the job done.
1 and 2. He got him. Baseball gets rid of him. Swarzak strikes out the side.
podcast, did the Sox hit a home run with the addition of Luis Robert? Chuck Garfien and Ryan McGuffey take a closer look into who he is. So subscribe to White Sox Talk Podcast today.
Have you ever wanted the chance to enjoy a picnic in the outfield of Guaranteed Rate Field?
I have.
Meet 2017 White Sox team members?
Yes.
And talk to White Sox alumni?
Indeed.
Now is your chance. Join us Sunday, June 25th for Picnic in the Park. All proceeds benefit White Sox charities. To purchase tickets, visit whitesoxcharities.org.
You were looking at me for more participation, but I kind of sat back.
You answered all my questions.
Wanted
no
you to
follow-ups.
take control.
Thank you. Yeah.
And there is Tyler Danish, who's got to be a very happy man, talking with Anthony Swarzak, who came up with a big fastball to get out of the inning.
Is out number one, a ground out from Garcia.
Well, perhaps Upton was looking slider because he was tardy on that fastball, and Anthony is pumped up. He just reached back, got a little something extra, threw it by him, doing what he's done all year, which is get out of tough situations. His manager really appreciates it. So does his pitching coach, and so does his teammates.
We'll have to ask after these games, but I think that exchange, if I'm reading lips correctly, I think Anthony Swarzak was thanking Ricky Renteria for letting him get that out.
Well, judging by the way things have gone for him this year, you have to have confidence in him because he's done everything that Don Cooper and Ricky Renteria would have wanted him to do.
But as you know, some managers wouldn't have.
True. But, you know, you got these guys coming out of your bullpen doing a great job. When they're out there, you can really make a very loyal pitcher if you give him the opportunity. And, of course, then again, it's up to him to come through, and Anthony did.
1-2 on Anderson. Good pitch, strike three, 2 down. Fans, experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining and service while enjoying a breathtaking view of Guaranteed Rate Field from the Huntington Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders and open before, during, and after every home game. The Huntington Bank Stadium Club is also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information regarding the Huntington Bank Stadium Club, please call 312-674-1000.
I'd like to send along best wishes to a big Sox fan, Donald Kerr. Looking at it, Holy Family Medical Center in Des Plaines. His family is in from Ireland, Hawaii, and Colorado. Donald went to the 1959 World Series to see his beloved Sox.
That ball's hit pretty well, but not long enough. Davidson is out. And a 1-2-3 inning yet again for Fullmer, but the Sox have him so far 1-0 after 7.
eClick.com. eClick is located in Chicagoland and is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened.
You jumped the boom.
Yes. And Tommy Kahnle comes in the game. He's got to protect a 1-run lead. So it's been Danish for 5, Beck for an inning, Swarzak for an inning, and now Tommy Kahnle on for the 21st time. His ERA at 1.42. 34 strikeouts in 19 innings. He was on last night for 1 inning, and he fanned 1, got out of the inning, and turned it over to Gregory Infante, who gave up a couple of hits, pitched the 9th, didn't give up any runs.
16+ strikeouts per 9 innings, third best in the American League for relievers for Tommy Kahnle, who is quickly becoming Tommy Dangerously out of the Sox bullpen.
As long as that straight change is over the plate anywhere from 88 to 91, he's probably not going to have a great deal of difficulty.
Ball 1 to Castellanos, who has grounded out 3 times. The real enticing thing about going 6 up, 6 down the rest of the way through this game is if you were to do that, you would avoid Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez until game 2. You'd also have won the game, which is enticing in itself.
Yeah. Looks like David Robertson getting ready just in case. And because Robbie has not been used a whole lot lately, you would think that if Kahnle has any problems, Robbie would come in for more than a 1-inning save. And so far, he's fallen behind 3-0.
David Robertson has thrown once in the last 8 days.
What we've said with closers especially, the closers will rust away before they wear away, and David could use some work.
There's a strike from Kahnle to Castellanos, who is 1 for his last 18.
Here's a look at David. Kurt Hassler behind him.
(3-1) fouled straight back. Now 3-2 on Castellanos, who is a prospective strikeout victim.
Pretty good location with the last fastball because he kept it up. Castellanos, who does have an uppercut swing and loves the ball thigh to the bottom of the knee, fouled that one back. So Collins in the on-deck circle waiting for his opportunity.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Kahnle to Castellanos. We'll do it again.
That went a little bit lower than he would like. It was down the middle, right around belt high.
Three and 2 from Tommy Kahnle. He challenged him, got a pop up, and that'll fly away. So glad to have you along for this doubleheader. Game number 1. Game 2 follows half an hour after the conclusion of this one. It'll be Buck Farmer versus Derek Holland.
Nice Golden State Warrior cap to go with a beautiful Sox t-shirt.
And a Sox cap right next door from the 05 championship season. 3-2. Another foul.
Good location for that fastball, right in on his hands. Castellanos was able to stay alive, however, making this a pretty good at bat for him. 9th pitch forthcoming.
Well, Castellanos has just the 4 home runs this year, but in a 1-0 game, you look back at his 18 from last season and 15 the year before, and you don't want to let him unleash that power.
He can take it out the opposite way.
He walks this time from the leadoff spot in the inning. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Ninth walk issued by Sox pitchers today is of the leadoff variety in the 8th, and now Collins batting. Strike 1. This has been the chilly part of the order. Castellanos and Collins have both seen their batting averages go on a diet recently. There is pop in both pieces of lumber. One ball, one strike from Canely. Jacoby Jones, 25-year-old center fielder, is next as Ricky Renteria has all of his numbers and signs in one place. One and two from Canely. Fouled away.
With Jim Adducci disabled, leaves him a little short from the left side on the bench. And right now, Osmus does not have a left-handed move to make. Not the greatest position to be in when you have a right-handed closer and primarily right-handed setup men.
There's strike 3. Canely puts away Collins. And one down.
Good straight change, and that's what Tommy Canely's been doing so well this year. That is the difference maker over last season. His ability to get that straight change over the plate. When he does, hitters have no chance. And Don Cooper wants to find out if David Robertson is ready. I would assume that he is at this point. So J.D. Martinez is going to get his opportunity to pinch hit as Jones is taken down.
You mentioned Jim, who's on the DL for the Tigers, Jim Adducci, whose father is the director of elite baseball for the Bulls Sox Academy.
It's really a great place for your kids to learn how to do a lot of different things and do it right, whether it's basketball or baseball. You have wonderful instructors. It's the best place for your children to learn how to do it well.
First pitch, a strike from Canely to Martinez, who got the start last night and was 0 for 4 with a strikeout, a ground out, a foul pop out, and he reached on an error.
This is his first pinch hitting duty of the year. He had a bad foot. He was just activated a couple of weeks ago, making the most of it with a very quick start.
Tigers now 11 strikeouts, 9 walks today.
So makes for a lot of pitches.
Tyler Danish hit 104 in his 5 innings. He had 6 of the walks, 2 for Swarzak, 1 for Canely. 1 and 2 on Martinez.
Tommy not throwing quite as hard today, but if he keeps it up there in a situation where hitters have to swing, they're going to make no contact. There's the man who started his first major league start, Tyler Danish, the pitcher of record. 5 innings. He walked a tightrope and he got away with it.
One and two. Fouled away. So Tommy Kahnle, whose specialty this year has been putting batters away, has seen quite a few foul balls on 2 strikes this inning.
I think one of the reasons is maybe a quick turnaround. Maybe not used to throwing this many appearances in this short a time, but the velocity of the fastball is down a couple miles an hour, and instead of swings and misses, he's getting some foul balls, but you can throw it by him upstairs.
1-2 to Martinez. He got him swinging.
Or the changeup downstairs. 2 strikeouts this inning, both on straight changes, and here comes Don Cooper. As that change just disappeared. Good movement. Good disparity in velocity between the fastball and that straight change. Let's take a look at our upcoming schedule presented by Travel Wisconsin, who reminds you to have some fun. Plan your trip today at travelwisconsin.com. The Tigers, for the second game of this doubleheader today, close it out tomorrow with a day game. And then the Red Sox come to town. Day game on Monday, and then the great pitching matchup on Tuesday. Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, and that series concludes Wednesday with a night game before the Thursday off day, and then it's off on the road again. So Don has had his say.
And it's Jose Iglesias. The one thing that, barring a pickoff, the Tigers have guaranteed is one more shot with Miguel Cabrera holding a bat. In this game, it stands 1-0. Ball just low on Iglesias, who walked last time, doubled in the second, and struck out in the fourth against Danish. The 6th strikeout for Tyler Danish. Zone that time, 1-1. Last 7 batters have either walked or struck out. This is 2017, kids.
The year of no contact.
You think we ever get back to the game where balls in play are the most frequent things that we see?
Not as long as people still believe that an out is an out is an out instead of productive outs.
2-2 now on Iglesias. Leadoff walk for Castellanos. Collins and Martinez have struck out. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jose Iglesias from Tommy Kahnle. Just clipped it foul.
Boy, he almost took that one out of Omar's glove. A little tardy on the swing, but he got enough of it to stay alive. It's an emergency hack. And he hit the bottom part of the baseball, not the top part, as you would expect on a low pitch.
2-2 from Kahnle. Fastball, strike 3. See you later. Kahnle does the job. Thank you, Layla. Appreciate the update, and good news for the Sox with Luis Robert now in the fold. Officially signed the contract and met the media and met some Chicagoland folks today. How about Michael Fullmer, by the way, on the wrong side of 1-0 through 68 pitches?
No, he's been just terrific. Got out of a huge jam. He could have been in huge trouble as J.D. Martinez, who came out to pinch hit, stays in the game in right field, sending Tyler Collins shifting to center field.
In the air to left field, and a base hit for Omar, who's 2 for 3.
Fulmer gave up singles to the first 3 hitters in the 5th inning with the bases loaded and nobody out. That was an inning where it can really get away from you. It didn't. He gave up only 1 run as Omar, who is a singles specialist, is going to leave the ball game.
And we see a major league debut as a pinch runner. Adam Engel is over to first base,
carrying with him an all-important insurance run. Castellanos, for one, believes that Yolmer is going to lay it down. I think a hit and run would be preferable. Let's see what Ricky Renteria has in mind. Well, that was an attempted hit with no run.
Well, you've got Engel over at first base, who's just up to date with the injury to Tyler Saladino. And Adam Engel has the speed tool, that's for sure, with 31 stolen bases with AA Birmingham last year. And some big stolen base numbers in the minors in his history, including 64 2 years ago with Advanced A Winston-Salem.
He's getting a very big lead at first base. Yolmer that time squared the bunt, pulled it back, and watched a high fastball go sailing by to even the count at 1-1. Fulmer's got a good move. Adam has got to watch it closely, and there it is.
Former Arizona Fall League MVP Adam Engel a couple of years ago, getting his first taste of the big leagues as a pinch runner. And there's the lead he has. Engel is safe.
It's a close play, and Fulmer's got quick feet. That's the key for a right-hander. We talk about it occasionally, where the left-hand pitcher needs deception to pick you off. The right-hander needs quickness. He thought he was out. If the throw was lower and on the outfield side of the bag, he had a good chance of getting him out. It wasn't, and he didn't get him.
We've got Engel now, who nearly gets picked off and is also in his first major league time. So you wonder if his lead will shorten with those two factors. There he goes. Sanchez in the air to left field. And Engel has to retreat, 1 down. Family Sundays feature tickets as low as $5 in the upper level, $15 in the lower level, and parking for only $10. Plus, special kid-focused activities located throughout the ballpark. Family Sundays, proudly presented by Coca-Cola. Visit WhiteSox.com/Sundays to purchase your tickets today. 1 down, Engel at first, and Garcia the batter. Another throw on Engel.
These Tigers do not have a complete game this year. Wouldn't it be just swell to see Fullmer completing this one at 8 innings?
He would rather not have that happen.
True, and our Sox would love to see that happen.
Does have 1 complete game to his name. It was a shutout last year. 1 in his career. That was in August of last season at Texas. Angles off and another foul ball, this time by Garcia.
That time he got a very good jump. There you see the line, and it's very impressive. No walks, 3 strikeouts, 7 hits, and 7 in the third. But to this point, he's been outpitched by a combination of Tyler Danish and the Sox pen.
17-game on base streak on the line for Garcia. Takes inside, and an extra run would be so nice here for the Sox with Romine leading off in the ninth. He's been on base 3 times. Then you've got Avila and Cabrera who have the power to really hurt you and take the lead if Romine were to be on base.
Only 1 inning, and that wasn't all that tough. 16 pitches in the 5th. Other than that, Fullmer has just sailed through this outing.
Engel doesn't run. That ball's laced into right field by Garcia. Let's watch the speed of Adam Engel. He's around third. He's coming home. Garcia third. RBI triple. 2-0.
The biggest hit of the ball game by far as Leury rifles it into the corner past Cabrera at first, and it rolls all the way to the wall. And Adam Engel with excellent speed scores easily. And the triple by Leury, who's driven in his 17th run, kept his on-base streak alive. And the all-important late insurance run, as the Sox have been habitually doing this year. Leury can really turn it on. Good combination of speed by Engel and Garcia.
Reason to dance.
Big run. And another one standing 90 feet away.
Infield in for Melky, and ball 1 that nearly got by the catcher Alex Avila. (2-0) on Cabrera with Abreu next. So Adam Engel with his first trip around the bases in his major league career.
And Tyler Danish just got a little closer to that first major league win, and this is his first major league start.
So on a day when the Sox salted away a cornerstone prospect from Cuba before the game, Tyler Danish, former second-round pick, comes up to throw pretty well. 5 innings of shutout ball. Adam Engel, who's come up through the Sox system, scores an insurance run. Melky takes a strike, 3-1.
Huge run out of third base. The outfield surprisingly deep all the way around. Collins is way back there in center field.
Three and one. Slammed foul left side by Melky. Three balls, 2 strikes. The crowd roars in a big spot. Melky lays off. Ball 4.
Let's take a look at Adam Engel. Off with the crack of the bat. He got up to almost 20 miles an hour. First to home in 10.13 seconds. He cut the bases very well. Scores easily.
What a component to have on the bench for the Sox. That type of speed, at least for the time being, with Saladino on the DL.
Well, it certainly is a faster Sox club than we've seen in recent vintage. Leury in the lineup gives them good speed at the top. The ability to bring Adam Engel off the bench. Great use of a pinch runner. Scoring all the way from first on Leury's rocket into the corner in right field. And a meeting at the mound with Jose Abreu, an opportunity to get a little more daylight between the boys and the Tigers.
Abreu breaks his bat. Collins charging in. Collins can't make the play. 3-0.
We talked before how deep Collins was playing in center field, and this time it came back to bite him because the broken bat looper in front of him drives home the 28th run of the year for Jose. He's left with just very much a cricket bat in his hands, but a 3-run lead late. And a chance to add on to that as Collins comes in, just falling short.
So Abreu's hit streak stays alive with Leury's on base streak. The on base streak at 18, the hit streak at 8 now for Abreu. And Todd Frazier with a chance to really detonate this game. Strike number 1, and Michael Fullmer, who was just coasting along and still has only thrown 85 pitches, has found himself in arrears by 3 runs.
Sox team this year has had a really enjoyable habit of scoring late. Sometimes they come up a little short. In a situation like this, though, they make it a whole lot easier for whoever is coming in out of the pen. It is a save situation to this point.
Well, and by adding those couple of runs, in order to let Miguel Cabrera have a chance to even tie the game, you'd have to have the first 2 guys ahead of him get on.
Yeah, big rally here in the 8th inning.
Frazier crushes this ball to right field, but foul. Todd's wondering when that pole moved to the left a little bit.
He was trying.
Cabrera at second, Abreu at first. 2 strikes on Frazier. For the Tigers in the 9th, it'll be Romine, Avila, and Cabrera, then Victor Martinez after, as the Sox, with a win, would jump the Tigers in the standings for 3rd place in the Central.
For Fullmer, a little frustration on the last pitch. It was 98 miles an hour, far and away the hardest he's thrown this afternoon.
Everything's been up to Frazier. He does it again. 1-2. Game 2 half an hour after this one. Buck Farmer going for the Tigers. And Derek Holland for the Sox. Strike 3. 2 down.
Sox and the Tigers will be back at it for Game 2 of today's doubleheader immediately following the post-game live. And don't forget, you can stream the game on NBC Sports app or at csnchicago.com.
told you about the pitching matchup. Derek Holland has thrown very well for the Sox this year.
And we'll see if Farmer can get something over other than the fastball. He's got a good fastball. Key for him is secondary pitches, of which at times have been problematic.
He is 6th in the American League in ERA at 2.47 entering play today. Derek Holland is. And there is ball 1 to Avi Garcia.
Arsenio Leon throwing in the bullpen.
Surprisingly, nobody has their fists in the air.
No.
Behind him.
A different Arsenio.
Two-hand grab by Avila that time. 2-0. Sox got a run in the 5th, 2 more in the 8th. Trying to win the first 2 games of this series. There's a strike, 2-1.
Sox score another run or 2. It's going to be Michael Inoa. If they don't, it'll be David Robertson.
Michael Inoa, who shares a trainer with Luis Robert, who was here today. Fouled away. 2-2 on Avi, who's 1 for 3. Mentioned that upcoming road trip. The Sox will have another 3 cities to navigate: Detroit, Tampa, and Cleveland, before coming back home for 4 with the Baltimore Orioles, who are in quite the fight in the AL East. Yankees are the leaders right now. Came in 2 games up on Boston, 2.5 on the Orioles, 4 on Tampa, and 6.5 on Toronto, which has actually done a pretty good job of hanging around after a really sluggish start.
And the loss of Encarnacion didn't help. Bautista not being Bautista and Donaldson being disabled all took a big chunk out of that offense that was in recent years a juggernaut north of the border. Not so much this year.
Second base and Romine retires the side, but the Sox grab 2 runs. Adam Engel scores his first career run in Tyler Danish's first career start.
here's our Miller Moments, and it's the day in the life of Tyler Danish, and this is his first Major League start. He was living dangerously, but getting out of each and every jam he pitched himself into. Wound up walking 6, but fanning 6. And the big factor was no runs in 5 innings. He is the pitcher of record, trying for his first Major League win, as Adam Engel stays in the game to play left field. Kevin Smith checks in the game behind the plate. And David Robertson trying to nail it down in a save situation. There you look at the numbers. He's 5 of 6, hasn't had that many opportunities to save games. He's on for the 16th time.
David's only blown save this year came at Detroit. He has a 3-run cushion, but as we talked about, he's only pitched twice in the last 11 days.
The only thing you worry about is command. When you haven't been out there, sometimes it's tough. That good control. His curveball has been magnificent this year. It's been by far the best pitch he's had. He's had very good command of his fastball.
Check swing, and he went strike 2 on Romine. Romine playing second with Ian Kinsler on the DL with a hamstring injury. That happened today, the DL placement. 1-2 in the dirt. The last 8 batters of this game for the Tigers have either walked or struck out.
A lot of no contact at bats today between the walks and the strikeouts combined.
9 walks, 13 strikeouts, and what's amazing is the amount of 2-strike foul balls by the Tigers. There's contact here, but it's not fair ball contact.
Well, that shows you just how good the stuff has been. Out of the pen with Beck, Swarzak, Canely, and now Robertson.
Breaking ball does in Romine. 1 down.
That's that Robertson curveball, which has been pretty close to unhittable all season long. Boy, late break. Can't pick up the spin. And a big first out.
So Alex Avila, who's walked, struck out twice, and lo and behold, a ball in play, a fly out to left. Robertson to his former catcher with strike 1. You pitch your former catcher any differently?
No. I mean, he knows what you're going to throw. He knows, look, David's a 2-pitch pitcher, so he knows he's going to get a fastball or a curveball, and probably if he gets that curveball in the neighborhood, you're not going to hit it. That was a very good pitch. He did not get the call. That was one of the few that Nick Lentz has had problems with. He's had a very good day behind the plate. You very rarely see anybody looking back or questioning him, but that time, that one had the whole plate. But he's entitled to miss a pitch or two.
Ball and 2 strikes.
If he can just get by Avila, the best way to face Miguel Cabrera is 2 outs and nobody on. With a big enough lead so a home run does not tie you or beat you.
I'm going to say, he could hit it 900 feet. It's still worth 1.
That's it.
Strike 3.
Alex, who normally has a good eye, has seen a lot of pitches close, has taken at least 3 that ended the at-bats.
That one cut right back over the plate.
Backdoor. Well, his fastball acts like a cutter, or the equivalent of a backdoor cutter over the outside corner to a left-hand hitter.
Miguel Cabrera, 2 down. Strike 1. dandy for strike 2.
Fans on their feet. They've had a wonderful first game of the doubleheader. Would love to see him finish it off with a flourish.
Robertson trying to put it away for Tyler Danish. 2 strikes. Jose to Robertson, and that will do it. In his first career start, Tyler Danish helps the Sox shut out the Tigers.
What a ball game it was. A lot of early angst, and then getting out of some trouble in the first, the second, the fourth, and somewhat in the fifth for Tyler Danish, who's going to win his first major league game. And the way he threw it here this afternoon, you would think he'd have another opportunity or so, because he was in command after a very rocky first inning, getting out with a ground ball. A fine play by Sanchez at second base off a ground ball by Castellanos. After that, it seemed easy, and then the bullpen made it hold up.
That bullpen has been impenetrable for most of the season.
Pretty strong, and the boys threw it very well today. So winning the first 2 games of the series and winning the first of a doubleheader today.
Next game, half an hour. See you then. Grab some food.
I'll be there.
For our producer, Keon Dolachahi, our director, Jim Angio, associate producer, Dave Ross, tech manager, Mark Harper, and the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti saying so long for now for our entire crew from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live. They bridge you until Game 2. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN.